Welcome to Conversations with Asha and Steve, where communication matters. Join us as we discuss effective ways to communicate, bridge the gaps, and build long-lasting relationships within your business and life. Here are your hosts, Asha Prasad and Steve Harper.
Hey, welcome to Conversations with Asha and Steve. I am Steve Harper, and with me, as always, is my amazing co-host, who I haven't talked to in quite a while because we took a little bit of a hiatus over the summer, Dr. Asha Prasad. Dr. Asha, how are you?
I'm doing good, Steve. How's it going?
It's
What's
going
up?
good. I feel
Haven't
like a
seen
little
you.
bit of a slacker though since the last time I talked. I mean, you're bringing out a new book. You've got new stuff happening. Programs are launching. You've been like busy, busy, busy. And I thought when we said this like a month or two ago, like, hey, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna relax. We're gonna enjoy our time off. No, not you. You just secretly lulled me into this sense of, oh, I should just chill and wait for Asha. And then you're just knocking down pyramids over there. I don't know what's going on.
No, not at all. Actually, I didn't even take a break. My break's coming up in October.
Oh,
So
no,
I just
so we're
decided,
we're gonna take a break then too.
well, I mean, I am. I
Oh,
don't know about
you're
you.
like, you can still be on here if you want, but I'm not gonna be
No,
here.
you know what? It's interesting, Steve. Life throws these plot twists all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you just have to kind of go with the flow. I mean, you make decisions, make choices, and you just kind of twist with it. So that's what, yeah,
You're, I have
been doing a
never heard
twist.
anybody in the history of mankind say you're just gonna twist with it, not not roll with it. I always hear roll, but twist with it. Okay.
Well, because I said plot twist, I thought I would just twist
Ah,
with it instead
I
of
like
flow with
that.
it.
A little bit of a chubby checker kind of vibe, but that's
Yeah,
a whole new way to deal with stuff that gets thrown at you.
just do the twist.
Yeah, do the twist.
Exactly.
I, I feel like that could be on a T-shirt somewhere.
I know, right? Just do the twist. I think that's great.
So last we talked, and we were thinking, before our break, which apparently you didn't take a break. That's coming up in October. Um, I feel like a slacker yet again.
No.
But when we last talked, we were talking about the concept of struggling, right?
Yeah.
Being on the struggle bus, being, struggling with something in various aspects of our life. And we were thinking about this might be a really interesting theme to approach the
Right.
next several episodes, maybe more with this theme, right? And we're calling it the struggle is real, but maybe give us some sense of what sort of put this front and center for when we started talking about it, why we wanted to bring it out for everybody else, to see and hear.
Well, I think that struggle is like a common denominator for everybody. Even though we may not want to word it that way, or we don't word it that way, or we don't recognize it as a struggle, but everybody struggles with something from one time or another. Or it would be nice if it was just one thing at a time, but it's usually not. It's usually like a multitude of things going on. But whether it's you're struggling with your health or something that you're going through in your business, or dealing with personnel, or whatever, or sales or marketing, whatever it is, we have all these struggles that go on in our
Yeah.
life, and it is a real thing for each and every one of us. No one is exempt to this. And I think, Steve, when you and I were talking about it, we were talking about, we want to share with people, we want to kind of get in the trenches with people and find out what are people struggling with, because
Yes.
I think that the landscape has changed so much since we are, dare I say, post pandemic. I mean, I'm saying we're post pandemic. We're probably not in reality, but there has been significant changes. The landscape has changed. It's and they're new struggles.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting topic because I think, people don't really ever have conversations around this. And I think one of the things that I
Yeah.
thought was pretty interesting and what we're hoping we'll get in terms of feedback from our audience is, what are you struggling with, or what are you, what areas, personally or professionally, are you really having a hard time with? What
Yeah.
struggle out there specifically for you would you like us to talk about? And
Exactly.
one of the things that I've gotten in terms of listener feedback is that you and I have this really great chemistry. We also have this really great approach to how we coach because it's very collaborative
Hmm.
and it's very we're very interactive relative to how we go about helping solve whatever problems might be before us
Right.
with a client. And you and I combined, when we do that, I mean, there's some real power there. So the
Right.
fact that we could put this out there and say, hey, look, we won't have to share your name unless you want us to, but we'd certainly love that feedback.
Yeah.
Is to, hey, what are you struggling with right now, and how can we help
Mhm.
you, and how can we coach you through some of this? I think a lot of times just getting a different outside perspective, a different viewpoint,
Mhm.
a better, not say it, better necessarily, but a different,
Yeah.
perspective that can kind of give you some ways to look at what you are dealing with, and maybe some ways to respond and react to it. The good thing about coaches is you don't actually tell people what to do. You're guiding and
Right.
directing, and you're sort of helping them reach the conclusions that they need to get to. But a lot of times, the things that we really don't realize we're struggling with, once we put it out there and we're willing to have that conversation, and or just put it
Mhm.
out there for feedback and guidance, some really valuable stuff can come from that, that can help lead you ultimately to how to overcome that struggle. Don't you think, Asha?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know what? It's almost impossible for us to always see 360 degrees around us.
Yeah.
And whenever you're working with somebody that can mirror back some things, can reflect some things back to you and give you a new perspective, a new kind of, paradigm to kind of go by, it really does help open up things in your life. And actually, I have found, Steve, is that whenever we start to talk about these struggles, and no matter what it is, personal, professional, whatever it is, it already lightens up your load. You
Yeah.
already are able to open up kind of your thinking, your creativity, your inspiration. It kind of just gets that off of your shoulders to just
Yep.
kind of open things up. And working with somebody, definitely working with a coach or a mentor really helps. Have somebody in your corner to be able to reflect that back to you, and somebody that you can also confide in. I mean, because some of the struggles, I think one of the reasons why we don't have those conversations is that we're embarrassed on some level.
Yeah.
We're embarrassed to seem weak. We're embarrassed to seem, we label it, weakness, failure, not good enough, whatever it is, and we label it all these different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But why do we do that? I don't know. It's just a human condition, I guess. And we get so caught up in those labels that we try to think that we have to have it all together at all time. And the fact is each and every one of us struggles. And
Yeah.
I mean, no matter who you are, Oprah struggles with something. I don't know what, but she struggles. I mean, everybody does, right?
Well, we all know Oprah is actually a big fan of this show, and so she's probably going to really appreciate the fact that you just told everybody she struggles, when she's got it clearly put together out there, but you've just completely undone all that. Way to go.
No, but come on, Steve. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, you know what? Like, seriously, all the people that have it together, all that appear to have it together. I mean, we struggle, even if it's something. I know this sounds stupid, but I just went through this morning, struggling to find my keys, for example, because
Yeah.
my head was so busy with so many things, I wasn't focused. And they
Yeah.
were laying right there in front of me. I mean, I know it's a silly example, but I mean, these are the things. And I mean, I don't know. Could you coach me around that, Steve,
Well, I
actually?
mean, here's the
You know?
thing, right? I mean, the immediate approach that I would take there is that you really, that struggle is kind of an important one, right? Because maybe that
Yes.
was the pause you needed, because
Yep.
before you got into the car, right? So think about this, like,
Exactly.
you were really struggling to find those because you weren't mentally focused, you weren't really
Yep.
in the game in terms of what you needed to be doing. Now imagine if you were driving and that was happening, right? And
Exactly.
you could be
Exactly.
in an accident or cause bodily harm to somebody. So those things are important, and I think that they're not inconsequential. I think that they are actually,
Exactly.
sometimes those things are put in our path to protect and
Yep.
serve us in some capacity. And so, yeah, when I would look at how I would coach you through that, it's like, okay, well, clearly something else was going on.
Mhm.
How many things were floating around in your head at that time? What was distracting you? Why was it distracting
Exactly.
you? And what was the challenge? Really, the output of the symptom was the key issue, right? But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's something
Yeah.
much larger. And how many things like that do we have occur throughout the day that are actually
Yeah.
limiting our ability to perform or be successful in certain areas of our
Yeah.
life? And that's, I think it's a, that, you're kind of joking about that as an example, but it's a really valuable one,
Yeah.
actually.
No, it is. I mean, it is those things. And also being able to pause, because I think what you hit on something right there, that's also one of those things. Whenever you're able to talk to somebody about it, you can realize that those pauses are actually blessings in disguise.
Yes. Yeah.
Even though sometimes we can really lose our cool in that moment of just like what is going, like frustration and everything. But you know what? This happens in our life everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere we go. It happens in our workplace, it happens in our businesses, with our clients, with our customers. It happens everywhere. And if we can learn to embrace that pause, you're going to have such a different experience.
Yep, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
so as we look forward towards new episodes that we're going to talk about these particular struggles, we'd love to hear from you as our audience what you're struggling with right now. If there's any
Right.
areas that you're willing to share, and again, we won't, say, hey, your name on air unless you ask us to, right? But at the end of the day,
Right.
or we'd invite you if you want to come on.
Mhm.
Dr. Asha and I could actually hear it, with the cameras on, and we can, record this for everybody's benefit if you're prepared to, or
Mhm.
willing to do that. And we could coach you through some of that. But a lot of times, people, there's a lot of shame around struggle, and there shouldn't
Yeah.
be. We all struggle,
Yeah.
just like Asha said. She's struggling to find her keys. I'm struggling to find, my confidence in some capacities.
Yeah.
There's always something. And the reality is, the more that we can shine a light on it, the less scarier it becomes. And the more that we
Yeah.
can find a united front to coach through that, we can maybe help you overcome some of those struggles. And so, however you want to share that with us, we want to encourage you to do that. But we've, everything from, how you're performing at work, where your relationships might be, where you could
Mhm.
be mentally, where you are physically, all of these things. You can't
Yeah.
think of a phase in our life that there's probably not some form of struggle that we're dealing with. But what's right now
Yeah.
holding you back and really preventing you from maybe making that next big leap, or taking that, that important next step, or what question you need to be asking to, to get the answers you're looking for, but somehow struggles
Mhm.
holding you back. We want to know those things, right?
Yeah, definitely. You know what I would encourage everybody to do, is to sit down, take a few minutes and write down the three top struggles that you're dealing with right
Yes.
now. And they may be as small or insignificant as you may think they are, which they're probably not. Just like the example that I gave, it's really, but just write that down and let us hear from you, because we'd love to be able to talk to you about it, to help you through it. Drop a comment below. I guess YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Just reach out to us and
Yep.
let us hear what's going on for you.
Well, with that in mind, so Asha, how could
Hmm.
people, where specifically on YouTube and Instagram and
Hmm.
Facebook can they find us?
So they can find us with Conversations with Asha and Steve. You can go to our website as well, conversationswithashaandsteve.com. But definitely, on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook, all of our handles on Twitter, at Conversations with Asha and Steve.
Yeah, and just, even if
So,
you're wanting to tweet us, right, or put it on
yep,
Instagram, hashtag it, struggle, and we'll find it, and we'll address it in a future episode. So we really want to know that. Asha, I'm excited to be back with you. I'm excited for these next several episodes, because I think this is an
mhm,
important offering that we're going to provide our audience, and we really do
yeah,
hope that everybody will come back to us with some of the issues that they're dealing with from a struggle perspective, because I think we can really add some value, or at least have a great conversation about it. And the offer stands, whether you wanted to come on the show, or you see yourself as, hey, I really would like to get coached through this process, but I don't want to be on air. I don't want to,
hmm,
necessarily be on camera to showcase it. Dr. Asha and myself will make arrangements to visit with you. We'd like to do it directly
definitely.
together, because we feed off one another, and we have this really exceptionally great way of coaching through some of these processes as a team. And so that would be
Hmm.
an opportunity for us to all get on a Zoom call, or, be able to have a conference call and talk through some of these issues. But, the way that I approach it is, there's no reason for you to continue to struggle if you've got willing people,
Exactly.
ready to step up and help you. So if we can help, we are prepared to do so, right? So, Dr.
Exactly.
Asha, I appreciate this time always. I appreciate the opportunity to have these conversations. I think we're going to have some pretty serious ones as we come down the pipe, but
All right.
I'm glad to be back with some new episodes for the
Me too.
show.
Me too. Glad to see you again, Steve, and glad
Yep.
to be back. And yeah, till next time then.
Until next time. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Conversations with Asha and Steve. We love to hear feedback and questions from our listeners. Please feel free to visit our Facebook page for more tips and information. You can also email us directly at info@ripplecentral.com for more information.